Welcome to the Game Sense Football Podcast. My name is Ewan, and with me is Nas.
Hello.
And in today's episode, we will be looking at fathers and sons in football. If you do not know, there are over time many famous players who have very famous offsprings, or maybe less famous players and less famous offsprings. I don't know. We can take a look at our list of players, and maybe you can help us decide whether or not the fathers or the sons are actually the better players. And remember, we are on Instagram at GameSenseFootball. Or you can drop us an email at gamesensefootball@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, pen pals.
Yes.
We would love to be pen pals.
And let us know if you want us to start an OnlyFans.
Patreon would do as well. So let's get on with our episode. So Nas, since we're on a father-son kind of episode today,
Okay.
if you do become a father one day, what would be that one piece of advice you would give your child?
Wow. What a heavy question this week.
Heavy, deep, difficult question this episode.
Here I was thinking you were going to ask me something about, like Star Wars with Darth Vader or something, but nope. Straight into the fields.
On. Yeah, of course.
I would say that the advice I would give my child is kind of the advice I would give anybody as well. Like, to me, the most important thing is whatever decision you make, do something that leads to your greatest happiness as long as it doesn't cause harm to others.
Very good piece of advice. I think you made a great father.
I would like to think so, yeah. What about you? Like, what's the best piece of advice that you already have given to your children?
I think one of the things that I like to tell them is to be kind to others. So whenever you want to do something, make sure that you don't hurt other people.
Okay.
If you want to play a prank on others, don't go too far. Don't make sure that you are not doing something that you wouldn't want others to do to yourself.
Right. Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's good advice.
Yes. So okay, now that we've dug deep into all these life lessons,
Parenting 101.
Yes, let's get on with our episode. Okay, Nas, did you watch the very heartbreaking Premier League weekend?
Unfortunately, yes. United played early again.
Yes.
I thought United played okay.
Played early, lost late.
Yes, still lost late. I saw a stat about how in the last 2 years, I think, United have conceded a winner after the 90th minute 6 times. And in the entirety of the Premier League before that, that had only happened twice to United.
Yeah, that's correct. So actually that's kind of a fun fact that I wanted to bring up actually this episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So since Erik ten Hag's appointment, no top flight side has lost more games. Okay, no top flight side has lost more games after the 90th minute than us.
Oh God, that's the most.
Yes.
Wow.
So you're correct. The number is 6. And before the 2022-2023 campaign, which is basically before Ten Hag took over, United had only lost the Premier League game that late twice.
Man, it's like reverse Fergie time, right?
Yes, reverse Fergie time. Something about Ten Hag that, I don't know, the team just kind of switches off late in the game.
Yeah. There were positives. I felt like United weren't so open like they were last season.
But open enough.
Yeah, open enough, correct. That's exactly it. But United should have scored at least another goal by that point anyway. But the goal that they conceded was inexcusable. There were like 3 or 4 Brighton players unmarked at the back post.
Yep, correct. And speaking about scoring more goals, I think the offside goal that was disallowed, that was pretty unlucky right there.
Yeah. There's a bit of debate online saying that Garnacho should have hit the ball somewhere else, but I mean, I don't think it's his fault. Zirkzee didn't really do anything wrong as well. He was going for the cross. Momentum carried him forward. He can't really do anything about it.
It's just purely bad luck, I would say.
Yeah.
So
that instance was bad luck, but United didn't lose because of bad luck.
Yeah, you're right. Like you said, defensively we let them, come in unmarked into the box. I think
Yeah.
that's just a recipe for disaster. And the other shocking result, I would say, perhaps Chelsea's
6-2.
big win.
Huh.
Yes, 6-2.
I don't think many people saw that coming.
Yeah, I don't think Enzo Maresca's gonna get sacked so soon. Then
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Anybody can have one good game. I mean, like
it was a
even
pretty good game.
two days before the game, he was still saying that Madueke is up for sale, and he's gone on to score a 14-minute hat trick.
Yeah,
So
who would have expected Madueke to score a hat trick?
yeah, I mean, the best thing is his Instagram post, which he then deleted before the game, where he said everything in this place is shit, and he tagged Wolves,
And he tagged Wolverhampton.
the
Yeah.
city of Wolverhampton. Yeah, that's amazing. So he got a lot of flack from the fans, rightfully so, throughout the game. But scoring a hat trick in 14 minutes in the second half would shut them up.
I guess so. Yes. Congrats to Chelsea, I suppose.
Yeah.
And in other news, something that just happened not too long before the time of recording right now,
Hmm.
Sven Goran Eriksson has passed away.
Yes.
Yes, so England's first foreign manager, Sven
Correct.
Goran Eriksson. Yep. Passed away at the age of 76.
Hmm.
So thoughts go out to his loved ones and his family.
Yep.
You were mentioning that he managed a friendly game with Liverpool, right?
Yeah. Friendly or some charity game, some sort of game, because he said he always wanted to lead Liverpool, and this was when Klopp was still there, I think. So sometime last year.
I see. Well, great that he could fulfill his lifelong dream.
Yep.
And so on to our episode
Yes.
on fathers and sons in football.
Mm.
So this was kind of a question posed to us. Basically, it's asking us to have an episode covering some famous father-son duos in
Yes.
football.
Yep. It's our listener Aziza. Actually, she asked us to talk about this. Football families, specifically fathers and sons. You asked, and we shall comply.
And yes, you asked, we deliver. So Nas, who do we have as the first father-son pairing?
I think how we'll do this is we'll not say rank, but we'll categorize each pairing into one of
Yes.
three categories. Well, first category is the dad was better than the son. Second category was the son is better than the dad, and the third category is probably remains to be seen, or
Both are crap. Yeah.
both are crap, or both it's unclear. Okay, and we have a few. Some famous, some not so famous, some infamous, I guess. And what we'll do is we'll play sort of low stakes who am I to start off with. Okay,
Okay.
I'll give you some bits of trivia about the father in the father-son pairing and see if you can guess who it is, and then we'll go through each one.
Yep. Let's do it.
Okay, the first one. Remember, this is the father. Okay.
Yep.
Won the Champions League, Cup Winners' Cup, UEFA Cup, the Super Cup, and the Intercontinental Cup.
How does he drink from so many cups?
Yeah. When he transferred to Ajax, Johan Cruyff was very unhappy because he was a relative unknown from Sparta Rotterdam. And he is one of only two Dutch players to have won all the UEFA competitions.
To have won all the UEFA competitions.
Correct.
Dutch player. I don't know, Patrick Kluivert?
Close. He also has a son.
He's Dutch. Danny Blind.
Danny Blind is correct. And his
Yes.
son is Daley Blind.
Daley Blind.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did he do in Ajax? Was he like fantastic?
Yeah, he did very well. Scored a lot of important
Yes.
goals. Was part of
As a defender.
As a defender, yeah.
Yeah.
He was part of the very famous Champions League winning side. So in a way, his name is etched in stone in Dutch and European football history already. He maybe is not as famous as maybe Frank de Boer or Ronald Koeman, but
Mm.
still very much a part of the fabric of history there.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty much a legend for the Dutch national team, from what I understand.
Hmm.
And Daley Blind himself, no slouch as well.
Yeah, yep. So
Yep.
Daley Blind obviously also good career, also Ajax, but also went on to play for Man United and Bayern Munich, and I think he plays for Girona now. Daley Blind has
Girona.
come up in some of our previous quizzes,
Mm.
but I think for this one, as much as I am a big fan of Daley Blind, I would say his father has had a better career than he has.
I think in terms of achievements,
Mm.
and I guess standing in their respective teams, Danny Blind is recognized as a legend. Daley Blind is recognized as a good player,
Yeah,
but I don't think he would really get that legendary status, unfortunately.
yeah, unfortunately. So I think I would say for this one, Danny Blind, the father,
Father
yeah,
is better.
is better.
I'm a big admirer of Daley Blind.
Yeah,
I like him a lot. So I think, in terms of ability, I wouldn't say he's that much further back, but in terms of status, I guess,
yeah,
and achievements, Danny Blind takes the cake.
I agree. Okay.
Yep. All
So
right.
easy, non-controversial one to start. So let's go. Next
Yes.
one. Again, on the father. He has
Mm.
written 3 novels which were titled Striker, Sweeper, and Defender. Okay.
Okay.
His middle name is Roger, and despite being a legendary player at club level, has played 0 times for his country.
Has played 0 times for his
0 times for
country.
his country. Okay. And in 1991 was top scorer in the league for Manchester United.
1991
1991.
was top scorer in the league for Man United.
Yes.
Who would this guy be? Steve Bruce?
Steve Bruce, the defender.
Why would he have been top scorer, man?
He scored 13 goals in the league that season.
From corners,
Uh yeah,
set
and
pieces.
he took penalties.
He took penalties.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he scored a lot of goals in his career, Steve Bruce. His
Yeah.
first season for Gillingham, I think, he scored 18
Mm-hmm.
goals. And he regularly scored around 10 goals in many seasons.
Yeah. So I think, most of the younger people, maybe younger listeners, they would know, or you would know, Steve Bruce as, manager
Hmm.
right now,
Yeah.
who looks like a nice granddad.
Yes.
But he used to be pretty hard man in defense,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Man United. Yeah, the biggest clue that you gave that allowed me to guess Steve Bruce was that, no England caps. Pretty surprising.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I mean, that bit of trivia has followed him, well, forever, and rightfully so. He was a very, very, very good defender for Man United. Played alongside Gary Pallister, who I think also didn't play much for England. And he never once played for England, Steve Bruce.
Yeah, correct. So when I first started supporting Man United, Steve Bruce was captain. And I was like, who's Steve Bruce, man? And from the matches that I did watch, he was, I mean, this tough tackling defender guy. And I think I found out from the commentators that he has no caps for England, which
Yeah,
I guess is something that most people would find a little bit surprising.
definitely. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he was part of that United squad, as you say, in the
Mm-hmm.
90s. When we did that United episode where I sang the song, so his name is in there. So yeah.
Yes. Yes. Go listen. Go find the episode where Nas sings Pure
Yes.
Gold.
His son is Alex Bruce, also a defender.
Mm.
Has hopped around a few clubs, played under his father at a couple of clubs as well.
Yeah, and also no England caps.
Also no England caps. I would say this is another one though where his dad had the better career.
For sure. I mean, you don't be Manchester United captain,
Yes.
right? And not be that good. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
he had his qualities. That said, Harry Maguire's Man United captain last time as well, so
Yeah, well, Harry Maguire has more England caps than Steve Bruce.
true, and plenty of goals as well, actually, from corners.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, but yes, Steve Bruce definitely the higher profile player
Mm,
here.
the higher Bruce.
The higher Bruce, yes, more bruised.
More bruised. Okay, next one. Scored 11 goals in his career from 1981 to 2003, including one for his national team. He's not a forward, okay?
Evidently.
Once worked for the WWF, but had to stop due to compulsory military service. And
Oh, this
last
I
clue,
have no idea.
saved a penalty from Marco van Basten as his side went on to win Euro 92.
Like Peter Schmeichel.
Peter Schmeichel.
Oh, so I didn't know this. Military service?
Military service for Denmark.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
It's I don't think it is as intense as maybe Singapore or definitely not like Korea. But yeah, the
Yes.
Denmark like Germany has compulsory military service, but I think it's not even for the entire male population. It's a sort of lottery sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, that's a lottery that I wouldn't want to win. And his son
Casper
is
Schmeichel.
Casper Schmeichel. Yes.
Yeah,
Still playing, I believe.
still playing. I can't remember where. Belgium, maybe? Maybe he's moved. I can't remember. But Peter Schmeichel, who was twice voted as world's best keeper. Some would say best ever keeper in history of football.
Probably you would say that.
Yeah, I would say definitely in the conversations. Others would say he wasn't even the best keeper at United. Some say Van der Sar is better. But yeah, his son, Casper Schmeichel, also
Mm-hmm.
shorter career, but in a way also legendary, part of the historic
Leicester
Leicester
team.
City squad, right? Yeah,
Yes.
important part of the squad.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I don't think there's much of a debate here. Peter Schmeichel is definitely the
yeah.
better one.
Peter Schmeichel's definitely better.
Yeah, and this is a great opportunity for me to repeat the joke that I always say, right? About how Peter Schmeichel won all those Premier League titles, and he had a son
Yep.
who then went on to win the Premier League himself. And in that space of time, Liverpool still hadn't won a single Premier League. Of course, I mean they've since won
They've since
a
won,
couple.
yes.
So one, no, not a couple, one,
One,
right? They
one.
won one. Yeah, under Klopp. Yeah, so Kasper Schmeichel, not a bad player in his own right, but
Yeah,
currently languishing in, I guess, Belgium. I have no idea.
yeah. It's when we go through some this list later, there are definitely players who sort of cannot emerge from the shadow of their fathers. And even though I think we
Yes.
both very easily agree that Peter Schmeichel, the father here, had the better career and was the better player, I don't think we
Yep.
can level that against Casper Schmeichel. He's definitely his own player, his own man, had a very good career still, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I think he'll be mostly remembered for his Leicester heroics,
Mm.
that one Leicester season. But apart from that, I think still a good player.
Yeah,
Has over 100 caps for Denmark, so
yeah.
not too bad.
I was always a bit like annoyed that he never played for Man United.
Seems to be like a birthright, don't you think?
Yeah, but I guess because he played for City, right? So yeah.
Yes, yes.
And Peter Schmeichel also played for City, which in itself annoyed me.
He was kind of hated and ostracized after that, after
Mm.
joining City. Yeah. Kasper Schmeichel, still a very good keeper. Right now, he's actually with Celtic. He left Anderlecht at the end of
Yes,
last season
yes,
and joined
Celtic,
Celtic.
Celtic,
Yes.
Celtic, who
Celtic
until recently had Joe Hart.
before he retired.
Yeah, before he retired, and Joe
Yep.
Hart was the emergence of Joe Hart was why Kasper Schmeichel had to leave City.
Interesting. So Kasper Schmeichel still chasing in Joe Hart's footsteps.
Next one,
Next.
again, the father. He played for his country 34 times without ever playing in the top tier of that country.
Okay. Okay.
His first professional club was Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest. Okay.
and has had a long-term feud with Roy Keane.
Haaland, Alf
Ha-
Inge Haaland.
Alf Inge Haaland, famously at Leeds and Man City.
Yes, correct. And of course, we all know who his son is,
Mm.
Erling Haaland.
Erling Braut Haaland.
Well, just right from the start, I will just say that Erling Haaland is definitely the better player.
Yeah, still very early, relatively early in Erling Haaland's career, but yeah, I mean, probably one of the best players in the world in the last few years. His father, Alf Inge Haaland, was not bad, but more of a utility player, played in
Mhm.
midfield and defense, and I think known more for the spat with Keane, which spanned many, many years, than his footballing ability or achievements.
Yeah, I mean, he was mainly known for being one of those hard men, kind of
Mm,
like not too dissimilar from Roy Keane. I think Roy Keane had a better breadth of skill sets.
yeah.
So hard man, Alf Inge Haaland was always in the conversation. And like you said, he is probably most famous for the spat with Roy Keane.
Mm,
For those who don't know, basically, it's always been said that Roy Keane kind of ended his career with, by basically assaulting him on the pitch. Not really assaulting, but it's really
yeah.
making a very bad tackle, an intentional foul. Earned Roy Keane a red card, I believe.
Yes.
Yep. And Roy Keane was kind of bitter over another incident that happened because when Roy Keane got injured for real
Hmm.
in a previous match against, was it
Leeds.
City? Leeds? It
It
was
was
Leeds,
Leeds.
yeah.
So Haaland was at Leeds and Keane was at
Yeah.
United.
Yeah. And Haaland was like just telling him to get up and stop play acting. So
Yeah.
Roy Keane never forgot that moment. And a few years later, he took his revenge.
Yeah. Keane, in his autobiography, said that he tried to injure Haaland on purpose. And after that, from what I understand, Haaland then tried to use that as evidence in saying, you ended my career. But what came to light was he actually, in that same week, played 2 more games.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even in his own website at the time, talked about how he was still okay to play. So they dropped the case. Haaland never like forgave Keane, or I think he's gone on record saying that he doesn't like Man United. His son Erling Haaland, I think everyone knows who he is. Scored another hat trick.
Yes.
Scored another hat trick on the weekend, by the way.
Over the weekend, yeah.
Over the weekend, yeah. I saw a stat. He's had more Premier League hat tricks than Cristiano Ronaldo and Jamie Vardy combined.
So early in his career.
So early in his career. And
Wow.
if he carries on at this rate, before the end of this season, if that rate continues, only Shearer and Aguero, Alan Shearer and Sergio Aguero, would have more
Mhm.
hat tricks than Erling Haaland after 3 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
that's
incredible.
yeah,
So sick.
he's too good.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Incredible.
Yeah, son is better than the husband. The husband, but better than the father.
Husband.
Son is better than the father.
Yeah, that's for sure. Erling Haaland and like we mentioned, still very young. So still a lot of time to get even more silverware
Even more
and more
scary.
accolades. Yes, exactly. And you know what? Even if he falls off a cliff, I mean, not literally, of course.
Hmm.
Uh, Even if his career falls off a cliff right now, you would say that his achievements have already far exceeded that
Hmm.
of his father's.
All right, so we have our first instance of the son being better than the father.
Yeah, not too many of these instances I would imagine actually.
I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see.
There'll be a few, but not too many.
Hmm. Okay,
I think there's some that's going to be very closely debated.
next one. The father again. He has
Mm,
won the Super Cup with 3 different clubs in Italy and Spain.
Super Cup.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the league winner against the cup winner.
Yep, yep. What an achievement. Yay.
He's got the only Champions League goal of his career for his first club, which was Monaco. And
Ah.
this is how he is described in Wikipedia. Okay. A large, powerful, and versatile player who was equally competent offensively as he was defensively. He could play on either flank or in the center, due to his ability with either foot, often alternating between playing as a centre back or as a right back, and was even deployed in midfield on occasion.
Wow.
Versatile, technical, strong centre back, right back, who
Yep.
first played for Monaco and went on to have very good career in both Italy and Spain. I would say more notable for his time in Italy.
Yeah, I think I know who he is. Lilian Thuram.
Lilian Thuram, yep,
Yes.
legendary French defender.
Legendary French defender. Last week we spoke about playing Championship Manager, Football Manager.
Mm.
I always wanted to get him
Oh yeah,
in the game. He was always so good. And I mean, if you think about right backs during his day, not that many actually. He'll be one of those first names that pop up together with Javier Zanetti and Cafu.
and Gary Neville.
Yeah. Yep. But the thing that I remember most about Lilian Thuram is actually that he scored a brace in the World Cup semi-final against Croatia in
98
1998
when France won.
when France won. Yes, that was incredible because I was actually I was rooting for Croatia. Nice, nice jersey, the Czech jersey with Davor Šuker in the team.
Davor Šuker, I was going to say, yeah.
Yes, one of my favorite strikers back then. And I remember the most is this guy who doesn't score goals, Lilian Thuram, got a brace. He's got 2 goals against Croatia.
Yes.
In the semi-final.
Yeah.
To drag France into the final.
Yeah. It's quite strange because people remember that he's a really solid, no-nonsense, unyielding defender, but he was actually very, very good going forward as well. But he didn't score a lot. Only one Champions League goal, even though he, did very well play in Europe for Juventus and Parma, and he also went to Barcelona.
Juventus and Parma, yes.
Yeah. Those are the 3 clubs he won the Super Cup with, by the way. Didn't score a lot, but yeah, I guess this was a time where even if fullbacks did attack a lot, and he was one of those, he didn't really attack the box.
And his children.
Yeah. So Thuram Lilian Thuram has more than one kid playing professional football. Marcus Thuram and Khéphren Thuram.
Yeah. I guess Marcus Thuram is the more famous of the two at the moment. Marcus Thuram, he plays a winger or attacker, right?
Yes, wide forward winger, however you want to call it, for Inter Milan.
Big guy.
Big guy. He's like almost 2 meters tall, I think, as a winger, which is quite amazing. Yeah. I really like Marcus Thuram as a player. He started his career in France because he's a French player. And he then went to the Bundesliga and played for Borussia Mönchengladbach. I love saying that.
Yes. Mönchengladbach.
Mönchengladbach. He was there for like 5-6 years, I think. Maybe a bit shorter. He left on a free transfer to go to Inter Milan. And it annoyed me that Man United never went in for him. He's just a very direct, powerful, skillful player who could score goals.
Plenty of things annoy you.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah, good player. Still young. How old is he?
I think he's something like 27.
He's 27. Wow. I thought he was 24. Oof. He's been around a while. Yeah.
He's been around a while. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been super high profile in his younger days. Just Lilian Thuram's son.
Yes.
But he has come into his own, I think. He is very much also a frequent setup. Frequently part of the French setup.
Yeah, his brother Khéphren, a bit lower profile.
Lower profile, correct. But he is playing for Juventus.
I think he's a midfielder, center midfielder, I think. So good players, Marcus and Khéphren Thuram, sons of Lilian. I would say Marcus is the better player and has also a slightly more established and successful career. Quite interesting that father and 2 sons. One is a defender. The father is a defender. The younger son is a midfielder, and the older son is a forward.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting trivia. And you know what? I'm just checking out their height right now, you're mentioning how tall Marcus was. Kefren
Mhm.
is the same height as Marcus,
Ooh,
both 1.92
very
meters.
tall.
Very tall.
Again, father is still better than the sons.
So I would say yes, Lilian Thuram, definitely better. Legend of his time.
Mm.
Marcus doing not too well. I mean, not too well. Sorry, he's doing not too badly.
Yeah.
Kefren, lower profile. He's still young. He's only 23, so there's still time for him to establish himself, his career.
Mm. Next one. Okay. The
Next.
father. His grandson Daniel also used to play at the club that this guy was most closely associated with. Daniel is still a top level footballer. So this guy also captained the first Italian side to win the European Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
Okay.
from Wikipedia, the
Yep.
description of his style of play. A commanding, elegant, and respected defender with good physical attributes, excellent technique, passing range, and an ability to set the tempo of his team's play. He was known for being strong in the air and for his outstanding ability to read the game, time his challenges, and anticipate opponents. He is
Mhm.
considered one of the greatest defenders of his generation and one of Italy's best ever defenders. This is the father.
Okay. If it's the father, then I guess it's Cesare Maldini.
Cesare Maldini and his son
Yes,
Paolo Maldini and
Paolo
grandchildren
Maldini,
Daniel and Christian Maldini.
Daniel and Christian Maldini. Okay, right. So Daniel and Christian is Christian a footballer as well? I know
Yes,
Daniel
so
is,
they
right.
both started in the Milan youth team. Daniel
Mm.
plays a winger forward. He actually played in the Serie A for Milan, scored 1 goal, but has
Ah,
since moved to Monza, who was owned by Silvio Berlusconi, who used to own Milan. Christian Maldini is playing in the lower leagues now.
yeah. I know nothing about Christian Maldini actually. But yeah, I think the debate now would be between Cesare Maldini and Paolo Maldini.
Hmm.
Yep, both legendary players, both
Both legendary players. I
defenders.
mean, to be fair,
Yes,
what I read about Cesare Maldini, you could have copy pasted that on Paolo Maldini and it would still be right.
exactly. So this is an interesting debate because Cesare Maldini played in a very different era
Mm.
from what we are used to
Yes.
watching, right? So for us, we grew up in the age of Paolo Maldini, where
Mhm.
he was just absolute beast in left back.
Mm.
Uh, then in his later years, he was a mainstay in centre back,
Yes.
and basically did very very well. Very elegant player. Is I believe your favorite player of all time.
Top two.
Yeah, one of the top two. Yes, together with Ryan
Ryan
Giggs.
Giggs.
Yes, whose name is now taboo in media
Yeah,
most of the time.
unfortunately.
Paolo Maldini was the player of our generation,
Mhm.
and that's why we think that he's one of the best. Cesare Maldini, on the other hand, like we mentioned, he is a great player in his own right
Mhm.
during his time. So maybe if we were to ask our parents' generation, they might say Cesare Maldini. What do you think?
I think
That
you
he's a better player.
I think you have a good point, but I would also say that in Cesare's time, it was harder to attack because the offside law at the time was more strictly enforced, and
Hmm.
also you could get away with kicking the shit out of players, right?
Yeah, I mean, football was basically brawling, right?
Yeah, and I'm not saying I
Yep.
mean,
Foot brawl.
and Cesare Maldini, by all accounts, wasn't one of those kick the shit out of players kind of player, but that was the reality of the situation. The state of the ball, the pitches, and all were less refined as they are today. So, it was very skillful players were less common, I guess. Whereas uh, during Paolo Maldini's time, again, it's not as advanced as it is today in terms of physical fitness and sports science and the technology of the pitch and the ball. But
Hmm.
I would say it was still more of a challenge. And again, at the risk of just falling into the trap of, maybe recency bias or something, but Paolo Maldini played in an era where in the Serie A, there was like legendary, iconic world-class forwards in 6 different teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's largely due to the evolution of the game, right? I think that we can talk about this in this way. But bad pitches, I guess, affect defenders too in the past.
Hmm.
Yep. And not to mention, Cesare has an international trophy, something that Paulo does not.
Yes. So there is that. I would say I would rank Paolo Maldini higher than the dad, but I would
Mhm.
understand if people disagree.
Yeah, so I'm trying to be careful not to say that Paulo's better just because, you know, I watched Paulo and I didn't watch
Mm,
Cesare, right?
mm.
But based on the information that we have, the uh achievements of both players seem very close to each other.
Okay.
So I would say hard to say. It's hard to tell
Okay. Get
who's the better one.
our first unclear or equal pairing,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. I would say it's a little bit unclear.
From Maldini, we'll move on to our last Who Am I? He was assistant to Ange Postecoglou at Brisbane Roar. And in 2015, he was appointed head coach of Curaçao,
Where's Curacao?
somewhere in the Caribbean.
Didn't appear on the Football Manager,
No,
so I don't
no,
know.
no. His father also played football for SV Robin Hood.
Robin Hood.
Okay, and Wikipedia style of play. A versatile player with an eye for goal, he also possessed good vision and was capable of playing in several other positions across the pitch. Despite his ability, he drew criticism for his character and attitude throughout his career.
Okay, that's not saying much, but I would say maybe Josh Haji.
No, but that's a good guess. So I'm actually
I have no idea where Robin Hood is, man, to be honest.
SV Robin Hood is in the Netherlands, and this guy
Ah,
he was head coach of Curacao because I think his mum was from the region. He's played in Italy, Spain, England, France, and the Netherlands.
okay, okay. Then I will go with my first guess from earlier, Patrick Kluivert.
Patrick Kluivert, correct, who scored the winning goal in
Yes.
the Champions League final.
Yes, Patrick Kluivert. Always a very good finisher.
Played for Newcastle, played for Barcelona, played for Valencia, Ajax, uh, AC Milan. Yes.
Didn't really have didn't really have that great of a career after he left Barca, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think his time at Ajax and at Barca was where he was most prolific and most successful.
Mm-hmm.
But still,
Mm-hmm.
amazing player. Yeah.
And I believe he had a short stint at AC Milan,
Yes.
not a successful one,
Hmm.
if I am not wrong. One season or
He once I think got banned 5 games for punching a player, and I think someone once told me, I've never really been able to verify this, but I do believe it, where the first like 6 or 7 years of his career, every season he got sent off for punching or elbowing someone.
oh, the guy's a brawler, man. Foot
Yeah.
brawl.
Again, I could be wrong. I bet this sounds very believable. His son, Justin Clive.
Justin Kluivert. Yes.
Yep,
Where's he
Justin.
playing now?
Isn't he still at Bournemouth?
Is he? I actually can't remember.
Justin Clivert, he is still at
He
Bournemouth.
is.
Yeah,
He is at
he
Bournemouth. Yes.
was at Ajax and Roma. He's also played at Leipzig.
Yeah, he was, I believe, loaned out to Leipzig, and a few other clubs. Basically, you know, I think he started brightly at Roma, but his career kind of like just tailed off.
It goes without saying that the father, Patrick Kluivert, has had the better career, but
Way better.
I think this might be one of those cases where the son cannot step out of the father's shadow.
Why do you say that?
I mean, they're both so similar, both forwards, but look at the career trajectory. Both started at Ajax, and one again, Patrick Kluivert didn't have like a legendary world-class career, but wonder kid who became a club hero, went on to various clubs in Europe, always scored
Mm-hmm,
goals. Whereas Justin Kluivert, who, to be fair, plays more of a winger than a striker, but
Yep.
from Ajax, he goes to Roma instead of going to Milan, He goes to Valencia instead of going to Barcelona. He goes to Bournemouth instead of going to Newcastle, compared to his father.
uh, I guess so. I guess so. It's not hard to believe that, a son of a famous footballer not being able to step out of the father's shadow. Imagine if you were like Jordi Cruyff.
Yeah, that was one of the names on the list.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna be like talking much about that because I think it's not safe to say, safe to say that
Yep.
um, Johan Cruyff is definitely the better player. Yeah, there's not we didn't even have to say it.
Yeah. But yeah, Justin Kluivert, decent enough player, but like he's one of those players I feel that if not for his surname, he would be very forgettable.
Yeah. So, when he was a young player, he especially with the Ajax team, I think he was quite hyped.
Mm.
Not sure if it's because of his name
Mm.
or I mean he was a pacey winger. I mean, is a pacey winger, I guess. And at that younger age in the Dutch league, he was doing pretty well
Yep.
in that Ajax team. But I guess after going to Roma, he actually played for quite a few seasons in Roma before the whole loan thing kept going. I think it was loaned to like Leipzig, Valencia, you mentioned, and Nice, if I'm not wrong.
Mhm.
So kind of not being wanted at Roma, I suppose.
Yes.
After a while, I guess his development trajectory kind of stalled.
Yeah, maybe that's his ceiling, his plateau because that's just as good as he will ever be, which again much better than I would ever be. Yeah, I just
Yes.
like you said, maybe it's because of the surname. He got to where he is because of the surname. It's carried him, but also it's been a crutch and an obstacle that he's not been able to overcome.
Yes. Yes. True that. Okay. So I've got one. This guy, he
Mhm.
won the 1993 Champions League with Marseille, and he has three children who
Oh,
became
I know
professional
who
footballers,
I know who this one is.
and two of them are, they played in the Premier League.
Yeah, wait, in the Premier League.
Yes, two of them played in the Premier
I
League.
don't know who this is.
Ah,
Oh,
yes.
he won the 90. When you said Marseille, I thought it was Zidane, but no, he didn't. He didn't win the Champions League with Marseille. Uh,
No, I don't believe he did. He's not
yeah,
that
yeah,
old.
yeah. He won the
Yeah,
93 Champions League with
yeah,
Marseille, and he has two
yes.
kids who play in the Premier League.
And there's still one more kid who's a professional footballer who did not play in the Premier League.
They're playing in the Premier League now.
One of them is still.
Huh.
Yeah,
Is it a French player or an African player?
African player.
I think I know. Is it it's the father of Jordan and Andre Ayew, right?
Yes,
Ye-
so
Yeah,
Abedi Ayu,
yeah.
but better known in the footballing world as Abedi
Ebedi
Pele.
Pele, yeah.
Yes, so he was given the nickname Pele
Mm,
due to his footballing ability,
mm.
which basically obviously evoke comparisons with Pele,
Okay.
the real Pele. Yep. So interestingly, Abedi Pele won the 1993 Champions League with Marseille in a team that was basically dominating football in the early 90s,
Yes.
right? He had two very famous teammates at that time. They weren't around in Marseille anymore when Marseille won the Champions League, but
Mhm.
basically he was playing with Jean-Pierre Papin
Mhm.
and Chris Waddle.
Chris Waddle. Wow.
Chris Waddle, the Sheffield Wednesday guy with the magical left foot.
Yeah.
So I never knew Chris Waddle played in Marseille until I was reading about this.
The early 90s, there were a lot of random British players, not so random, but good British players who played in France and Italy. Like Chris Waddle, like Mark Hadley,
I mean, you had Mark Hughes in Barcelona as
Yeah,
well, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
And Bayern Munich, I
interesting.
think, Mark Hughes. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if I'm not wrong, that Marseille Champions League win is a bit tainted in controversy because of a match fixing thing in France. But
Correct.
I actually know very little about Abedi Pele. But if you're given the nickname Pele, you have to be good. Andre Ayew and Jordan Ayew are both quite strange players to me, where they're both very when you watch them on YouTube, they look like world beaters. The highlights are bloody amazing.
Yes,
But
yes.
most of the time, they're very quiet during games.
Yeah, so, I think they did well before coming to England.
Mm,
Yeah, but in England, Andre Ayew played for West Ham and Swansea,
yes.
and I believe Nottingham Forest last year. Um, Not a bad player by any means. Jordan Ayew as well. I think Aston Villa, Swansea as well,
Mm.
Crystal Palace, and now he's actually still in the Premier League with Leicester.
Oh yes, he is. Yes.
Yeah, and both of them have chalked up over 100 caps for Ghana each.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah,
Good
so
good careers, both of them.
good careers.
Jordan Ayew, when he was at West Ham, was he West Ham? Crystal Palace. There was one goal he scores where he
Mhm.
like it's like a goal out of FIFA. Like 4 skill moves in a row, and then he chips the keeper.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, I can't remember where I can't remember
Should be Crystal
who.
Palace, I
I
guess.
think
If it's
Crystal
Jordan
Palace.
Jordan Ayew, right?
Yeah, it's Jordan Ayew. It's an
Yeah,
amazing goal.
they have a brother as well.
Okay.
Who plays football or
Mm,
played football, lesser known. Ibrahim Ayew,
okay.
also known as Rahim Ayew, I guess
Okay.
short form.
Right. Okay.
7 caps for Ghana.
Okay.
Not as great.
No, it's
Yeah,
great.
but
Yeah.
I definitely have to give this to Abedi Pele based on the fact that he actually he won
Champions
the
League.
Premier League with Marseille. Champions League with
Champions
Marseille.
League. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't get a name like Pele, like you said, if you
Mm,
weren't good, right?
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, his children are not like Andre Pele or Jordan Pele, right? So
Yeah.
Oh, one more fun fact about Abedi Pele is he was called the African Maradona. So
Why his name is Pele?
I know. I guess they can't make up their mind which legend they want him to play like, or rather which legend they think he plays like.
I mean,
Which is kind of funny.
Abide Maradona doesn't sound as good as Abide Pele.
Yeah. The name's too long. Abedi Maradona. Yeah. I've got a few more. Let's go on to the next one. So this guy, he is a legend for his country, not really a club legend by any stretch of the imagination for any of his clubs.
Hmm.
He played in midfield and had more than 100 caps. Okay, his son is someone who used to be touted as a wonder kid.
Oh, I know who this is.
The son was born in Sunderland, and recently the dad got into some controversy by attempting to use his power with his country's federation to get his son more playing time and better treatment in the national team.
It's Claudio and Gio Reyna for the USA.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Claudio Reyna, not really much of a memorable player for any of his clubs.
Did he play for
basically,
Sunderland?
but he did. That's why Gio Reyna was
there.
born.
I didn't
there,
know
yes.
Gio Reyna was born in England. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you know who Gio Reyna was named after?
This I know. He was named after Claudio Reyna's friend and clubmate Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
Yes, that's right. They
Yeah.
must have been real close.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if I have a kid, I'm sorry if I have a kid, I'm not naming him Ewan.
Yeah, I've 2 kids. I none of them are called Nas.
Well, if you have a third,
yeah.
you could. I give you permission.
I don't know what's worse. Having a third kid and going through all that again. on naming the third kid Nas.
If you have a daughter, Nas works as well. So just putting it out there. But anyway, the controversy around the Reynas was quite highly publicized, right? It was like 1-2 years ago, or was it this year? It was fairly recent. Gio Reyna, like you said, once touted as wonder kid, golden boy sort of player. He's sort of fallen a bit, right? He's had some injury issues.
Fallen off the radar quite a bit. On paper, he's still with Borussia Dortmund, but he's not playing. Last year he was out on loan to Nottingham Forest. And he failed.
I totally forgot he was at Nottingham Forest. My God, yeah.
Yes, because he didn't achieve anything.
I would say if you're widely touted as a wonder kid sort of player, you go to Dortmund.
Yep.
Who has a track record,
of developing players, right?
Haaland, Bellingham,
Jadon Sancho.
Jadon Sancho, yeah. But you still can't make it there, or not even. No one's even asking Gio Reyna to be a world beater, but just he's not even a regular starter for Dortmund now, right? He got loaned out. So
he got loaned out. He's apparently back, but I couldn't find any update on what's going on with him now. Yeah, so I guess he's a bit of in a limbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Joe Reyna not really living up to his potential.
In this case, would you say the father has had a better career?
So actually, I'm very tempted to classify them as both are crap, but it's quite evident that Claudio Reyna has achieved a lot more.
Even though he was a fairly average player.
Yeah, but I mean, with his national team, at least
Yes.
he got more than 100 caps.
Gio Reyna is still young. He has time, but he's just
He has time.
mired
It
in
doesn't look it doesn't look like it's gonna really happen for him in
Mm,
terms of having a career that even matches that of his father's. But you never know. I would say it's too early to tell
yeah.
right now, but it doesn't look good. Right, next one. It's going to be interesting.
Okay.
The clue is for the son.
All right.
So this guy, he made his international debut as a 17-year-old in 1996.
Okay.
And in his debut, he came on as a substitute for his father.
What? In
Yeah, and
96.
and he went on to have a decent playing career for Barcelona, Chelsea, and Bolton, among other clubs.
Oh, is it Good Johnson?
Yes,
Ah,
Ida Gudjonsson.
I know nothing about his father. I just know Ida Good Johnson had a father who played football. Yeah.
Yes, so I know nothing about his father as well, but I know about this fun fact, and it's so interesting, right?
Hmm.
So his father was like 34 or something at the
Okay.
time. So they were actually a little bit peeved that they didn't get to play together.
Okay.
Apparently, the then president of the Icelandic Football Association
Yep.
specifically instructed the coach not to play them together
Okay.
because that was an away match and he wanted them to play together on home turf.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
which was like 2 months later. Unfortunately, I think Ida Gudjonsson got injured
The son.
and yeah, he got injured before that game.
Hmm.
And by the time he returned from injury, the father had retired.
Oh, interesting.
So all we're left with is this substitute thing.
So interesting. I didn't know. I mean, again, I know of Ida Good. I've actually met Ida Good Johnson once. Nice guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know he actually played in the same match, the same game as his dad, even though he never played with the dad. But yeah, yeah.
I know nothing about his father,
Mm,
but definitely I would think Ida Gudjonsson is the more famous guy and
yeah,
had better
definitely.
achievements as well.
For
You
sure.
know, playing for Barcelona, spent a lot of time with Chelsea as well.
Mm,
Next, let's move on
mm,
to the next one. Okay, so this player,
hmm.
he's a striker. His reputation in the 90s was that he's one of the best strikers for his country.
Okay.
However, he never really got the opportunities to play for his country. I think he earned only like 33 caps for it. He has two children who both played in the Premier League.
Half children.
In what you can spin off as a nature versus nurture kind of argument.
Okay. Is it Ian Wright?
Yes, Ian
Mm,
Wright
with
with
Sean and Bradley Wright Phillips.
yes. So Sean Wright Phillips, the older one,
Mm,
was or is rather his adopted child.
okay.
While Bradley Wright Phillips is his actual child.
Biological.
Yes, biological. Yes.
I didn't
In
know Sean
his
Wright Phillips was adopted. Oh man, I had no idea.
yes, so that's why they're half siblings. Although there
Oh,
can be an argument that they're not actually half siblings, it's more like foster siblings. But yeah.
yeah.
But yes, Sean Wright Phillips was adopted, and Bradley Wright Phillips is his biological child. I mentioned that you can actually spin off a whole nature versus nurture argument with this because
Mm,
two children from the same family, one biological, one not, right?
hmm.
And what's the likelihood that both actually succeed at the top level
Yeah. I mean,
in football?
not world-class careers, but again, got much further than 99% of the population.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here is Bradley probably had more pressure, playing in the shadow of his biological father,
Mm, mm.
as well as having an older brother who actually set the, he set
The
the
bar.
tone for how, how well he played. I mean, he
Yeah.
played pretty well. Sean Wright Phillips, he earned 36 caps for England, which is more than Ian Wright, by the way. And
36 caps. Wow.
and he actually won. I think a number of those caps came from Sven Goran
Yes,
Eriksson,
I
the
imagine
late
so.
Sven Goran Eriksson. Yes,
Mm.
he won the Premier League with Chelsea,
Mhm.
so pretty successful, I would say.
Mm.
But whereas Bradley, he never played for England
Yes.
and yeah, didn't
Is
really
his
succeed in any of his Premier League clubs as well.
he went to MLS, I think.
Correct. So you mentioned about how Justin Kluivert kind of was playing with the burden of his name.
Mm.
I would imagine Bradley Wright Phillips to be something like that as well, because he
Mm.
went to MLS and he became a legend
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
with New York Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
anything, I would say Bradley Wright Phillips maybe even more so than Justin Kluivert, just because his father, legendary Arsenal striker, played
yes.
for other teams as well, but I think most people
It's
associate
most
him with
remembered for
for
being
Arsenal.
with Arsenal. Yeah,
And then, like you said, he has an older brother who's not even related by blood, but also following in the footsteps of the father. And then you come
exactly.
along, who you're, maybe the rightful heir and all, and then you, of the three, you're the flop.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, so
Oof.
when he went over to the US, I think
Mm,
it really kind of allowed him to separate himself from
mm,
the
like,
pressure of of
yeah.
of of the English media at home,
Mm,
of being compared to his father a lot. And yeah, he did really well with New York Red Bulls. He's got a lot of goals for them.
mm.
Um, Sean Wright Phillips, interestingly, joined New York Red Bulls a few years later in his career and actually played in the same team as Bradley. So who's better, Ian Wright or either one of the children? Sean Wright Phillips did okay for himself.
I think Ian Wright is one of those players where people forget how good he was, because both for England, for Arsenal, and in the Premier League, he was overshadowed by other players just before and just after. Yeah, so he's basically in like the reverse Goldilocks zone, where as good as he
Mm,
was, people remember the people before and after him more fondly. Maybe justifiably so, but he's had a very good career, and I would argue better than his sons.
yes, completely
Yeah.
agree. I've got one last one, an interesting one as well. Okay, so the father won the 1994 World Cup.
So he's Brazilian. Okay.
Yes, has two children,
Mm.
one of whom has also won the World Cup, but not with Brazil.
Okay. This was actually one of the ones I wanted to talk about as well. It's
Yeah,
Is it Garincha or Mazinha?
Mazinho.
Mazinha, yeah, with Thiago and Rafinha.
Yes, correct.
Thiago Alcantara. A lot of people might not even know that Rafinha and Thiago are brothers. Not the current Rafinha that plays for Barca now, but it was a different Rafinha before at Barca.
That's correct. This Rafinha used to play for Inter. I
Mm.
have no idea where he is right now.
Yeah, I think he might have gone to Qatar or Saudi.
Ah, yes. Saudi Arabia. Qatar. Sorry, Qatar.
Qatar, yeah.
Qatar. Yep.
Thiago Alcantara is one of my favorite modern day players of all time. I just love the way he plays, like so silky
Yeah.
smooth playmaker,
Yes.
just doesn't need to run, dictating play from deep. Just the way he pings the ball, so nice. His brother of the two, Thiago is better,
Surely. Yes.
surely. Very good career. I was always surprised that Thiago was never used more by Pep Guardiola at Barca. But I guess as good as he was, he could never really break the Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets midfield triumvirate.
Yeah, I think that's a little unfortunate. He
Yeah,
was really like there during the time where Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets were like quite peak.
yeah. And no one in the world would have broken that.
Exactly.
I would say this is actually a really prestigious footballing family. All three have had very good careers. Rafinha is probably the least decorated of the three, but still, I mean, Barca and all, can't scoff at that.
Yep. Inter as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Interesting, Mazinho, as
Mm.
an interesting fact. You know that in 1994 they had this the famous baby celebration that
Yes.
Bebeto
Mm.
and Romario. I think it was Bebeto who scored the goal
Yes.
and did a baby after his newborn.
Mhm.
And there were three guys in that celebration. So it's Bebeto, Romario, and the third guy, Mazinho. So he was one part of that famous celebration.
Looking at Mazinho's career, good career from 1985 to 2001, but
Mhm.
Vasco da Gama, Lecce, Fiorentina, Palmeiras, Valencia, Celta Vigo, Elche, Vitoria. Not Barca, Inter, Liverpool, Bayern Munich.
Not prestigious, basically.
Yeah, but good. I mean, very good player. But I would have to give it to the Suns or at least to Thiago.
Definitely to Thiago. Probably wouldn't give it to Rafinha.
I have a couple more before we go.
Yeah,
A few more.
special
We can,
mention. Yeah,
yeah, special mention to players like families like the Delap family, like Rory Delap, who
Rory
famous
Delap.
for being the throw-in fella at Stoke. He has a
Yeah,
son, Liam Delap, who was at City and recently transferred to Ipswich. Chicharito Javier Hernandez,
yeah.
who Mexico and Man United. His father and grandfather played for Mexico, and I believe all three of them scored at the World Cup.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, Zinedine Zidane has kids playing football. I think
Yes,
Enzo and what's the other one? I can't remember.
Luca.
Luca, yes. One of them is a keeper, right? Is Luca the keeper?
Luca's the keeper.
We've already mentioned Johan and Jordi Cruyff. No real debate there.
No, not at
Yeah.
all.
Sergio Busquets, who,
Mm-hmm.
famous legendary Barca midfielder who plays for Miami now. His father played for Barca as well, but was a backup keeper. So again, Busquets takes it.
Again,
Sergio
no
Busquets
debate.
takes it. Yeah.
Yeah, no debate.
Sergio Aguero, who
Aguero, yeah.
scorers of one of the most iconic goals in Premier League history.
Yes.
Who one of the best strikers in modern day, is
Mm-hmm.
the son-in-law of Diego Maradona.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
so
really counted.
not really
Yeah,
counted. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like that's like pay to win. Um, there is Enrico Chiesa and his son
Of
Federico
course.
Chiesa.
Oh, I really like both those players, Enrico and
Yes,
Federico Chiesa, and
yes,
that reminds me
exactly.
of Simeone as well.
Yes, so there's Giovanni Simeone and his son. No,
Diego.
sorry, Giovanni and his father, Diego.
Yeah,
Yes, Diego Simeone and Giovanni Simeone.
we've not touched upon like siblings and cousins because there's a lot.
I think
Yeah,
there's just going to be too many
there's too many.
for
Yeah,
this
I mean,
episode.
the
Yeah.
Nevilles, Inaki and Nico Williams, a lot of the Dutch players are the cousins, so there'll be just too many.
Yeah. So for this episode, we're just touching on fathers and sons. And as Nas tried to do, he tried to slip in one son-in-law.
I think it's been a good discussion. We've seen fathers who have outshone the son. We've seen sons who have stepped out of the father's shadow, sons who cannot step out of the father's shadow, and some where it's debatable about who's the better player or who's had the better career.
Okay, so I think that brings our discussion to an end for this episode. Yes, so if you liked what we spoke about, do give us a like or leave us a comment telling us good job, guys.
Yes.
We would love that. Do follow us on Instagram at GameSenseFootball or drop us an email at gamesensefootball@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And, feel free to leave a suggestion for a future topic. There's a very good chance that we might actually talk about it if the topic makes sense.
Yeah. One thing I saw this week, not
Yes.
related to father and sons, but La Liga has kicked off. I think it's already
Okay.
the second match week, but Leganes has a forward named Juan Cruz. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long this has been going on, but he has a different hairstyle in every match he plays.
What?
Yeah. So end of last season, he had those 90s center parting hair, and then it went to a mohawk, and then this season, the first game he had cornrows, and the second game he had a mullet that was half blonde. I don't think it's gone through all of last season, but if you want, like, just looking at his Instagram, right, it's like different players.
His barber must be real happy.
Yeah, or he has very good weeks. We'll keep an eye out. So next week we'll see how his hair looks.
So yeah, so thank you all for listening. Remember, once again, follow us on our Instagram at GameSenseFootball or drop us an email at gamesensefootball@gmail.com. So till next time, we'll see ya.
We'll see you guys. Be kind to people.